Be exactly what you want to be without all of the fear around you. We have to stand up together. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Built to Exit with me, your humble host, Jason Sisneros, where every week we talk about strategies, stories, psychology, thought processes, systems, and all of the stuff that only people who are crazy enough to be business owners ever think about or ever should be thinking about. We start out with the premise. That everybody exits. How matters. It's very important that you get that initiating thought, that you understand that no matter what happens, no matter where you are in your business, you will exit at some point. Today's story is from 130 years ago. So guess what? The founding, the business owner that started that company 130 years ago, William Lever, who started what's now Unilever, which I think they have about a market cap of about $114 billion at this point in time. But guess what? He started a company and then he exited. How did he exit? He passed away, right? We all have a day it sounds a little bit morbid, but that's not what the point is. The point is that company not only lived beyond him, but it is thriving beyond him. And so we're going to tap into a little bit of that knowledge today, but we're going to talk about this. But again, it's that initiating thought, right? Right now, you could be with us live. We have a crowd full of unbelievable business owners that join us live every single Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to whenever we stop. Usually it's about 10:30. But we all get together. We do a little bit of content. What you're watching now on video, what you're watching now on replay, you could be live. You could be listening to this content and have a burning question, and then we click off of here on the video and we go right into questions, and you could be asking that question live of me and my guests that join us each and every Saturday. So make sure that you make that a habit. Come visit us. I think after one episode of being with us live, you're going to fall in love with the audience just like I have. You're going to fall in love with the speakers just like I have. You're going to fall in love with me just like I have. And so my beautiful wife is, generally speaking, co-host with us live on the X platform at the Jason Sisneros, 9 a.m. every week. So welcome. So we're going to talk a little bit about that initiating thought. Built to Exit. That's the name of the company, baby. It's in the name, right? Built to Exit. As you think about your company, are you building it? Number one, if you are building it, you should start to think of yourself as an architect, right? An architect is the number one most important hire if you're going to build any structure that is going to be valuable long-term, right? So start looking at yourself like an architect. Now, an architect sits above, just like a chairman or chairwoman sits above their business, right? An architect sits above. They know all of the pieces. They don't necessarily know how to swing a hammer or do plumbing or they don't know about electrical or whatever it is. But you know what they know? They know how to tie all of those components together, the interconnectedness of it. They understand how it all works together. They take the vision of whoever has the initiating thought of that structure that wants to be built. And they can put that into drawings and measurements and then get a general contractor and then coordinate all the efforts. So at the end of it, something like the Taj Mahal can be built. And most business owners, they don't think in architectural terms. They think in terms of putting just a little roof, like starts out with a tarp. Right? And then, that tarp, guess what? We could get a single wide trailer. And in that single wide trailer, guess what? We just had a baby. So we need to glom on and duct tape a room on there. Oh, we should have a deck, right? So you hammer a deck on the thing. And then you keep adding and adding and adding and adding all of this stuff that is being built in the moment by non-professionals with no architecture in mind. And so eventually you have something with cars on the lawn that are broken down, and eventually somebody comes in and they're gonna call it unlivable. They might shut you down. They might tell you to tear down that stuff. At the end of the day, that is what I see with a lot of businesses. Now, not just my opinion, right? Not just my opinion. Most of those single wide trailers that are being nailed together are called businesses. And those businesses, 95% of them do not survive past 10 years because they were not architected. That's the thought. That's it. Right? And your business starts to change the moment that you see yourself as an architect. The moment that you say you've got to go out a little bit, you've got to design it. That helps you reverse engineer into the moving and parts that you need in your business. And ultimately, if you are an excellent architect, you know that this business should live beyond you by passing it on to somebody in your family and or selling it to somebody else. And so that's in the term built to exit. And there's 4 main components, and we're going to dive into them today. We call it the core 4, CORE, culture, operations, revenue, and exit, right? And then there's the 4 components of a really brilliant architect that you got to know about. Relationship to customer. You have to have those dialed in. They have to be predictable. You have to know lifetime value. You have to know acquisition costs. You have to know, have a referral program in place. You have to have some advertising and marketing in place. All of this being systematic. The second area that you've got to be really great at is financial clarity. Those books tell a story. And when you're looking to pass it on in succession or you're looking to pass it on by exiting, those books have to be able to tell a story. Your business speaks in numbers. Your business speaks in numbers. And so those books need to be exactly clean. They need to tell the exact story for somebody because you are selling the past, which is documented and confirmed via your clean, audited financials and being read by somebody who is buying the future. So that stuff has to show a trend. It has to be predictable. It has to be accurate. It has to be true. It has to be in generally accepted principles, generally accepted accounting principles. It's called GAAP. Okay. So these are the things that you start to learn. The third thing is that you have to have a management team. You cannot be needed in the contemplation of the future owner of your business. Either, again, succession means that you're passing it on because you're passing on. We all go down that path, right? If you are selling it as an exit, that business is buying it for the future revenues. Yeah, you could be with it. But again, now you just go to work for somebody else. You sell out part of it and you become an employee of your own company. But ultimately, for that ultimate exit, what you want to do is be able to say, I am not necessary for the predictable returns and the predictable revenue and the predictable ongoing growth and the predictable mergers and acquisitions that may happen because I built a machine. I architected a machine. I know because I listened to Jason Sisneros' Built to Exit show, and I dealt with his unbelievably brilliant strategist, and I got involved, and I understood that I needed to become an architect, and I built it to exit. That will be a massive indicator for the intellect of you and moving forward, okay? So as we look at that, and the fourth piece is having an exit plan in the first place. That is your end game. That's going to the end, architecting of a comprehensive exit plan that includes knowing what your as-is EBITDA is, the number that you report to the IRS, your owner add back, your owner adjusted EBITDA, right? Which says, okay, everything that I took out, everything that I'm paying myself, all the stuff, we throw that back in. That's a good indicator, right? But an excellent architect gets to the third one, a pro forma adjusted EBITDA, which means that you have contemplated the future. You can tell the story, right? All of these things, because your asset that you're building, you want 2 things. You want to control 2 things at the closing table. The amount of money that you're going to get is tied to your multiple, but I'm going to speak in plain terms, okay? Is how much money are you going to sell for? And the second thing that you want to control is time. How quickly are you going to get that money? You could get paid all of it. You could get paid a quarter of it. You could get paid a half of it. You could be, have to wait 3 years. You could have to be part of the financing. There's so many options that are open when you're sitting down at that closing table, but you want to determine what that conversation is going to be and what that outcome is going to be years before you get to that table. Okay? 18 months to 3 years from where you are today, you could be ready for that conversation, and you could be in control of that conversation. You could be intellectually superior, or at least the equal of people who are professional buyers of businesses. If you're not, you will not sell. Number one, less than 7% of companies that are ever put on the market ever sell, right? So that's the typical thing. And then the second side of it is the kind of exits, right? There's 3 types of exits. Number one is the involuntary, when you go out of business, right? Or you pass away at your desk. The second one is a dictated exit, which I talk about my first experience in actually selling my asset, where I got my ass handed to me, probably got 50% of the value of the business, and took me 3 years to collect the money. It was a nightmare. That's a dictated exit. I was an amateur at the time, and I ran into a professional, and they designed how they purchased my business. Now, the third kind, and that's what we focus on here, and I want to tell this little story of William Hexeth Lever. But the third type that we focus on at Built to Exit is the custom tailored exit. It has to be custom tailored. You got to have an idea. Right now, I happen to be wearing a custom tailored suit, okay? But the thing is, I had to pick ahead of time. I had to say, here's the fabric that I think I like. Here's the stuff. And then the tailor, right, went in and customized it to the size of my body. And so it fits better. It looks better. It lasts longer. It's made out of better material, et cetera, et cetera. Your business should be as custom tailored as you would something as simple as a suit. And most people aren't doing that. We're building single wide trailers without the contemplation of architecture, without the contemplation of custom tailoring it. Okay? So you're far ahead just with that initiating thought. You are so far ahead of your competition, and then you start to reverse engineer. We talk about it from that perspective, and I love the idea of going backwards in time. I'm a historian by nature anyway, right? Whether it's politics or psychology or philosophy or economics or whatever it is, I love history, because we as a race, the human race, we are pretty predictable, right? And as Tony Robbins says very often, is that success leaves clues, but so does failure, right? And so what I love to do, I'm going to start telling stories of these companies, because everybody's like, oh, I can't exit. I don't know how to exit. I don't blah, blah, blah. Well, look, every business exits, every single company, every single time somebody goes to a website or whatever it is to say, I want my EIN number, I'm now in business. Every single one of them that starts that process is going to exit. That's why that's why our tagline says everybody exits, because they do. Hi, my name is Jason Sisneros, founder and chairman of Anton J Global, a world-class business consulting company that has helped hundreds of clients and thousands of growth course students fix, scale, and successfully master their businesses. To put it simply, my team and I help people turn their businesses into machines that create cash. To better support startups and other mid-sized companies, my team and I developed a phenomenal and comprehensive digital growth course where I poured decades of business ownership and know-how into 20 hours of content. This course is not easy. It's not an easy pill, but demands real work from you to implement the blueprints that I've developed. We know that reaching financial freedom is never easy, but totally worth it. Go to growthcourse.com right now to learn more about the course and get started on your business journey today. So if you're thinking about it in the long term, then maybe that lives beyond you. Maybe that adds value to your family long term. Maybe that adds value if something happens to you, that it can cover that sort of deal. This is what you have in your hands, properly built. Okay? Properly built. So I went back and I started thinking about let's look at some very successful companies. As I said, right now, I can check stock the stock value, but right now Unilever is sitting at being worth $141.17 billion. Do you know what it started out as? Soap. A single solitary bar of soap is now a $141 billion business. Okay. And I'm going to go back and see, when did he pass away? He passed away in 1925. Okay. Oh, 1925. Okay. Then that's literally 100 years ago. Okay. Literally 100 years ago, this guy passed away. And so at the end of the day, guess what? He exited, and now that business is worth a lot of money. Okay, so he was the 19th, just a little bit about William Lever. He was a 19th century founder of Lever Brothers, which is now Unilever. From a humble soap maker to an empire builder, Lever revolutionized business through his visionary approach to culture, operations, revenue, and ultimately a masterful exit strategy. Sound familiar? Core 4, baby. Culture, operations, revenue, and exit. We're going to explore how Lever's innovative practices, like creating a groundbreaking employee culture, optimizing production at scale, and building a brand so powerful that it lives on today. So whether you're running a family business, scaling your startup, or preparing your company for exit, this should inspire you to rethink your approach and build something that lasts. Okay. So just a little bit about, when you could go to the Wikipedia and you can read some stuff about William Hexeth Lever, the first Viscount of Leverhulme, which I believe is in England somewhere. Let's go down here where it started. So his product, the very first product that he came up with, and remember, where you start is not where you end up, right? When you build your business to exit, you're exiting to what's next. I got a bunch of t-shirts, right? Shirts that were printed. And on the front, it's got the B2X. If you go to builttoexit.biz, you can see our logo. You can see our branding. It is freaking gorgeous. It's like a superhero brand. And on the front, like lapel, it's got that beautiful B2X. It stands out. And on the back, it says exit to what's next. Because a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to exit, and then what am I going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do, right? That's your end game. You can start a charity. You can start another business. You can go sail the 7 seas with your loved one or by yourself, whatever turns you on. But whatever that is, you're always exiting to what is next. And if you don't have that target out there, you're just going to do what's in front of you day after day after day. And you're going to start to get to a place, as I did in my life, where you're like, is this all there is to life? Right? Is this all there is? There's a great movie out there with Jack Nicholson in it. And I think that's the title of it, something of that nature, right? Which is, right, is this all there is? And so if you understand that life is a progression, and life is a progression of you getting better constantly and consistently, then you know what to exit to. You got to know what you're going to exit to so that you have that target on the deal. Okay, so in 1884, he developed Lever and Company to where it was virtually self-governing. And he wanted to take control because, again, remember the progression. He started doing this soap. It was doing great. He outsourced it to a manufacturer, just like everybody. He started really small with a bar of soap, and then he had to get a manufacturer to do it, but he couldn't afford to scale up a manufacturing company on himself. So then he sold enough to where he could buy the manufacturer. The progression of this is worth you taking some time this week to dig in and watch this, right? To watch the progression of what he did. I'm going to give you 4 points here in just a minute, but it's fascinating to watch the growth and to watch the build out and the thought processes of people who build and stay in business beyond. Remember, 50% of people are out of business in the first year. 95% of them don't make it past that 10-year mark. So let's jump in real quick to what he did, right? So let's talk a little bit about the culture. William Lever was decades ahead of his time in understanding the power of employee well-being and engagement. If you are part of the B2X system, you will recognize that as the WIFM. We have a process called WIFM, it's officially WIIFM, WIFM. What's in it for me? And if you build your business from the perspective of every employee, number one, you fall in love with the outcome of your client, right? And then you serve them better than anybody else on the planet. You talk to them, you get feedback so that you have process and product improvement constantly. Second thing is you're going to have a management team as part of the exit plan. And that management team and every employee, you've got to know, why are they coming to work for you? So William Lever was decades ahead, because if you remember back in the day, it was like you were lucky to have a job, and business owners had the opportunity to mistreat the people that were working for them. That's not the environment that we live in today, right? It's not depending on how bad the economy gets, it sways back to the business owner and how good it is. If it gets really, really good, it sways over to the employee. It's a pendulum back and forth. And so at a time when workers were treated as disposable, never ever treat your employees as disposable. Lever created Port Sunlight, a village built specifically for his workers. The community included affordable housing, schools, recreational facilities, and even access to healthcare. He believed happy, healthy employees were more productive and loyal, which directly impacted the company's success. Okay? So if you look at your business today, you can learn from him by saying, creating an environment where employees feel valued and supported. Now, there's a lot of fluff words around building a culture, a lot of fluff words that don't end up in hard systems and processes, right? Everything that you do in your business should be predictable because you've built it into an SOP. Right? Those of you that are graduates or going through the Built to Exit system right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We teach you exactly how to do that. So create an environment where employees feel valued and supported. Invest in their personal and professional growth. Now, I want to stop right there just for a second, because at the end of the day, Keith Cunningham, who's the Rich Dad in the Rich Dad, Poor Dad books, been a mentor of mine for a lot of years. At the end of the day, he told a story, and I tell this story quite often because I love it, right? Did the same thing with my wife. He said, when he met his wife, he sat down as they were dating and he asked her a question. How do you feel love? Right? How do you feel love? And she put out, she's like, what do you mean? He said, write out on a list of all the ways that you feel love so that I can deliver that to you. Same thing when you're thinking about your customers. Same thing when you're thinking about your employees. Why are they doing what they're doing? And how can you and your machine that you're building meet those needs? And she wrote out that list. And on it, there was a lot of stuff. He goes, I can accept all of these things, but there was this one little note, this one little area where she said, I want a love note from you every day. And he looked at her and he said, every day? She said, you asked the question, right? You either do it or you don't. You asked the question. This is how I feel love. So every day of their marriage, he shoots her a note, whether he's with her or whether he's not. She gets a note, a love note from him, because he's obsessed with her outcome and how she feels love. And how many of us have asked our employees? How many have asked our spouses? I asked Emily in the very beginning, how do you feel love? How do you experience it? Her and I have two very different love languages, which is now kind of merged to be the same. But she gives love in one way and I give love in another. And if we don't figure out how the other one receives love or feels it, then we're going to disappoint. And disappointment is the beginning of a business failure. So you can implement programs like employee wellness initiatives, personal development opportunities, flexible work policies to improve morale and retention. There's common things, but if you get that WIFM down, it knocks over a lot of dominoes for taking care of your people. Okay, so a strong purpose-driven culture, knowing and articulating what that outcome is. With Built to Exit, what we want to do, it's very clear and very articulated that we want to custom tailor 600 exits for businesses to sell somewhere between 15 and 30 million over the next 5 years. We know, because we've done lots of research, I've been doing this for a lot of years, we know that $15 to $30 million changes somebody's life in a lot of ways. So you can exit to what's next. You can stay in that business and just take that cash yourself, but you are in a position of control of your own destiny. 15 to 30 million changes people's lives. And we want to change those lives for a lot of reasons, because that is the upper middle class, lower upper class, it's 60% of our GDP, y'all. And if we don't support and help that section of our economy thrive, we lose a lot of things downstream, like freedom of speech, Second Amendment, the adherence to the Constitution, putting people that are integrity based in government, right? A tax code that works for everybody. All of those things are driven by the people who drive the economy, and that is you and that is me. That is small and mid-sized companies, 0 to 499. We do 18 trillion freaking dollars in this country, and we have no voice and no influence over what's going on. Well, we're gonna do that when 600 of us have moved through that and lots more in the pipeline. That's the only reason B2X exists, is to help you take your company to a $5 million EBITDA or somewhere thereabout to help you sell for $15 to $30 million. We're crystal clear. Everybody that works with me or for me or is a strategist of this organization knows that that's the outcome with crystal clarity. And they also know how they benefit along the way. Fell in love with the outcome of a business owner who's struggling, who wants to have financial freedom to exit to what's next. And then I fall in love with every person who works for me or works with me. And I wake up passionate to meet their needs and to meet their expectations every single day. It is a life I love. How clear are you on your business's outcome? Have you tied it to the outcomes of your employees? Have you tied your obsession to falling in love with the outcome of your client? It will set you apart more than AI, more than Bitcoin, more than real estate, more than anything. It will set you apart because people in this world right now are incredibly self-centered. And if you can serve that self-centeredness, you are necessary in somebody else's life. And to be necessary creates profit. Now, next, what he did, operations. That was culture. Operations, innovating for efficiency and scalability. Okay? The two, as I make fun of everybody that uses the word scale because all they think it means is to sell more. It's bullshit. That's not what scale means. Part of it, but it ain't it. Lever's approach was obsessed with operational excellence. He was one of the first to employ large-scale advertising campaigns and branding strategies to differentiate his soap products. His iconic Sunlight soap wasn't just soap. It was branded as an experience that communicated cleanliness and modernity. I don't know, modernness. I have a hard time pronouncing that damn word. Lever also optimized his supply chain, ensuring he could scale production without sacrificing quality. Did you hear that? He optimized his supply chain, ensuring he could scale. Optimizing your supply chain has nothing to do with, it does. It's the downline effect of more sales, but it's the effect. Sales makes a promise. Operations delivers on that promise. Is your operations scaled? In other words, systemized? Is it SOP, standard operating procedure, in a way that delivers a high level of probability of success for the user? Yes or no? Yes or no? So focus on building efficient systems that streamline processes, reduce waste, and ensure consistency. Audit your operations to identify bottlenecks. Use tools like automation. Use some AI. This is where AI comes in real good. We talked about system that I taught you last week how to build a system. Okay, a flow chart, a very simple handwritten one on the back of a napkin. I've built multi-million-dollar businesses on the back of napkins at least 4 times in my life from just doing the exercise that I told you about last week. Are you a business owner that's looking to build your company into a machine that creates cash? I'm Jason Sisneros, chairman and founder of Anton J Global, a world-class business consulting company that has turned around, merged, or prepped for sale hundreds of companies just like yours. I'm best known as the architect when it comes to fixing and building companies across the globe. My experience comes from owning and exiting over 20 of my own companies successfully. It's that real-world experience that I've converted into the ultimate blueprint that has saved and grown my clients' businesses. If you're tired of getting bad advice, have bought all the books, all the coaching programs, and still aren't seeing the success that you were promised, it might be time to work with a team that has actual experience and a track record of success. Please scan the QR code or visit antonj.com to schedule your free 15-minute consultation to see if we can help you reach your outcomes. That's antonj.com, ANTONJAE.com. So businesses that can deliver consistent quality at scale create a competitive advantage and maximize profitability, making them irresistible to potential buyers. Okay? Revenue. Diversity and dominate the market. Diversify and dominate the market. Lever's approach. He didn't rely on just one product. He continually innovated. Now we call this intertwinement, right? Intertwining with your customer, right? And I use the example of what we did with Nike, right? We had one product. We kept our ears open. We gave them another product. We gave them another product. We got them another product. And when it came time to renew the contract, I got a phone call from the decision maker who wrote us the 3rd largest check that they wrote any other group or partner with them. Every single month, they wrote me that check. I got a call at the end of that said, hey, we don't know where you start and we end, because we had taken over so many aspects of what we were doing because we listened. We didn't just say, hey, we've got our base product. We listened. What did they need? We met that need. What else did they need? We met that need. We fell in love with their outcome. Are you doing that for your business? He continuously innovated, expanding his product line and entertaining new markets. He also pioneered large-scale marketing campaigns. Wait, let me stop for just a second. Because what you need to do, your base product, whatever it is that you do at the base, before you expand into another one, you have to have that base product delivering predictably high levels of raving fans out of that first. Do not go, I could do painting because, I take somebody's trash out or something. You've got to make it methodical. These have to make sense, and you have to have your base product that is world-class. Okay, so I'll get back into it here. So by targeting growing urban markets and leveraging distribution networks, he ensured that the Sunlight soap became a household name across Europe and beyond, right? Revenue growth is critical, but diversification and strategy are key. If you go to sell your business and you have one product and you have 1, 2, or 3 major customers, you have what's called in the marketplace concentration risk, which means nobody will buy you. Because if 1, 2, or 3 of those customers goes away, you're in trouble. If something happens with your base product and that's the only thing that you offer, you're in trouble. People are buying your business or you're passing on your business in predictability, not unpredictability, in predictability. Diversify your revenue streams, build a brand loyalty by offering value-driven solutions. Look for ways to expand your product or service offerings in adjacent markets. Invest in marketing that doesn't just sell, but builds trust and loyalty. A business with diversified, predictable revenue streams is far more valuable to investors and buyers than one that depends on a single product or market. Okay? Number 4, your exit. Building a legacy that outlives you. William Lever understood the importance of legacy. Do you? By creating a scalable, his company's structure and branding were designed to last beyond his lifetime. By creating a scalable, efficient organization embedding strong cultural values, Lever Brothers was primed for long-term success. Eventually, his vision laid the foundation for the creation of Unilever, a global conglomerate that still thrives today. I just told you their net worth today, $141 billion. Building an exit requires planning with the end in mind. Wow, this is amazing. Sounds like we've heard this before every single time I open my mouth. So treat your business as a long-term asset by developing systems and structures that don't rely solely on you. Create a blueprint for succession planning and ensure your business operates seamlessly without you and without your constant involvement. Use metrics and processes to prove value to potential buyers. A business that runs independently of its founder attracts higher valuations, the control of the two things that you want when you sit down at the table. Valuation, in other words, how much you're selling for, and timing. How soon are you going to get your money? And it ensures a smoother exit when the time comes. So William Lever's story is more than history. It's a roadmap for every business owner who wants to scale, create impact, build a business that stands the test of time. Lever mastered culture, operations, revenue, and exit strategies in a way that resonates even more powerfully today. That's it. That's the story. 130 years ago, a guy turned a bar of soap. What is it that you have, right? What is your product and or service? What is your baseline? Do you need to improve it? Do you need to add employees? Whatever the concepts are, there's lots of different things. This is why we call it custom tailoring. Because each and every one of you, I'm always speaking to the one. Yes, we have large amounts of people that listen to this, either on replay or with us live. But at the end of the day, I'm speaking to the one. Because here's the truth. Most business owners aren't going to do anything different. Because they use stupid ass excuses. Like, I don't have time. I've always done it this way. I can't sell my business. I'm too busy. Right? These are excuses that whatever it is that you do, I promise you that it can be built into a business that somebody else wants to own. But only when you decide to become a professional. Only when you decide to become an architect. Only when you decide that your waking thought is that I'm going to go to work today to build my company to exit. Everything can be sold. Everything can be built into something somebody else wants to buy. But the vast majority of the people are not going to do it. I see, I was reading an article and watching a couple of reports this last couple of weeks. And what it is it's about, the crackdown on the guru space, which thank God couldn't come any sooner. And one of the things that you get from me clearly is that the minority of people, which I want you to be a part of, the minority of people are going to do what it takes. The blueprint exists. I didn't invent this shit. I didn't invent this stuff. All I did was capture it and systemize it in a way that worked for me originally. I've fallen in love with my family in the SME community. And so the information exists. We have systems and processes in place. But if all you did was listen to this podcast week after week after week, you're going to get better. Trust me. I hear from my audience all the time. Jason, I don't have the money yet to invest in the built to exit system. Jason, I don't have the money to invest in bringing your team in for a deep dive. I'm not ready for that yet. Great. Hang out with us and learn and constantly improve, because eventually you'll be able to invest in speeding this process up. And that's what happens. You condense time when you have the proper knowledge of what the next step is. And so I want you to be prepared. I want you to be one of those ones that's so passionate about getting to a place in your life where you have reclaimed your choices, where you have reclaimed your freedom, where you have reclaimed your future, that you're not just going along with the flow, that you're not just letting life take you along in the waves and the what's going on in the economy, et cetera, et cetera. No, that you become the destiny builder for you and your family. That inspires me. That's who I love hanging out with. That's who I love hanging out with and hugging when I go to speak live, or when I go and jump on somebody else's podcast, or when we're in person. I'm about to get together with my entire team and a bunch of people that are already competent in their own world to come in and get certified and to come under the banner of B2X. Because this is a mission. This is a mission. 600 of you. Are you going to be one of the 600? That we help exit in the next 5 years? We want to hear from you if you are. We want to hear from you where you are. And so back to what I've been hearing a lot. The FTC, they're cracking down on gurus, and they're basically saying, hey, you got to tell, they're promising that every single person that ever buys anything in their product, they're all going to become multimillionaires. You're going to go from your $60,000 a year to a $10 million exit, right? They're saying things like, my last exit was $151 million, blah, 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 blah. All kinds of bullshit. Giving the expectation that if you just simply buy their product that they're going to be successful. That is bullshit. Nobody's product is going to help you succeed or get to where you want to go unless you first have committed to it yourself. And then the information that you take in should be measured by the dollars that you make, by the foundation that you build, by your EBITDA number growing in your business. Because that's where the conversation starts for your exit. And for most of you, you are 3 years away from ever having that conversation, only if you start today doing the right things in the right sequence. Otherwise, it's a pipe dream. Otherwise, you won't do it. It is not me being negative. It's not me telling you that you're sub-smart, or you don't have a big enough six-pack, or you're not flying around on the right jet, or you're not blah, blah, blah. It's none of that bullshit. There's a core belief, and then you become discerning. Discernment means that you can sniff bullshit out. And if you can't sniff it out, that you have systems in place that test whether that information is helping you get closer to your exit or further away. Data does not lie. If you are operating a business as a machine, data does not lie. Systems are the way that you prove out whether a theory or advice or coaching or consulting is moving you forward or backwards. Stop making emotional decisions and put on your high intellect mindset. Intellect high, emotions low. Emotions high, intellect low. That's it for this week. I love you all so much. I am having the time of my life right now. I am having the time of my life right now. I'm exactly where God wants me to be. I'm doing exactly what I love to do. And it is not easy, but it is worth the fight for us to free 600 families. For us to put you in a position to win. For us to help you get to your exit, to your end game. My wedding was full of people that I helped from that. My family side was not my blood family that was with us at our wedding. It was full of people that I fell in love with their outcome, helped them achieve it. And they became my family. I do not care if I have 18 million followers. I care if you're following me and doing something with the information. That's what I care about. So to all my strategists, I'm going to see you on the 31st, 1st, and 2nd in Charleston, South Carolina for our next boot camp, where we're going to train really, really hard on how to better serve you, the business owners that are out there. Tomorrow, my wife and I are headed out to go to the in the greatest country in the world to watch the peaceful transfer of power in Washington, D.C. So whatever it is that you're doing this week, make it an adventure in your life. And I can't wait to see you. Make sure you come on live. Would love to meet you. I'd love to hear your voice. I would love to hear your story. I would love to help you with your business. I'd love for you to meet the amazing family of B2X business owners and strategists. We all hang out together. We all talk together. We're all telling each other our wins, our losses, our challenges. We're working together. That's how this happens. It's not just, oh, you got to follow Jason Sisneros. No, don't do that. If all you do is follow Jason Sisneros, you're going to fail. If you follow Jason Sisneros and then you get involved, you get some strategies from B2X and you meet the other business owners and you start changing your behaviors and you start doing business with smaller businesses and you learn stuff and you learn not just from me, but from the other people that are in my environment. That is called interconnectedness. That's what's going to help. I love what I do. I hope you love what you do. I'm in love with my outcome and my end game. I love the results of the hard work. The right hard work. So that's it for this week. We'll see you again here next Saturday live. Come and join us live. Bring some people. Share this video out. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, X at the J Sisneros, and you'll get all the highlights. You'll get all the notifications. I will end up in your city sometime, somewhere, and I would love to have a meal with you. I'd love to see you in the audience. I'd love to give you a hug. Love to take pictures with you. Go make next week magical, and we'll see you next Saturday. I'm Jason Sisneros for Built to Exit. I hope you have an amazing week.